going to look into 2 or 3 situations from the life of the Sahaba and how is that being reflected very clearly. When we look at the Quran itself, unlike what we have nowadays, if somebody's trying to look like, attract friends, they tend to break the rules. We see cursing and cussing even in what is supposed to refine the characteristics of the person, al-fan wal-adab wa kada. Those, arts and literature are mainly meant to, poetry and talking about good meanings. But what we see nowadays sometimes, or most of the time, is that cursing and cussing and describing things that are, it's immoral, it's not right to say it this way. We see that very rampant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the relationship between the man and woman. The meaning is there. He's trying to convey a meaning. But he says, لَمَّا تَغَشَّاهَا حَمَلَتْ حَمْلًا خَفِيفًا. It's not easy to translate that. The meaning is conveyed, which is this man, when he comes to her, when he gives to her, she got pregnant. The word that's been used is very soft and does not, contradict al-haya. And we see that all over again in the Quran. Allah said, أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, if you happen to break your wudu, this and that, or you touch, in one of the translations, you touch the women, then you have to make the wudu, you have to make the ghusl. Touch the woman. He's referring to the relationship between the man and the woman, according to one tafsir. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day is giving advice to somebody, Usama ibn Zayd, and he gave him a piece of cloth, and then Usama, he asked him, where is it? I want to really see it on you. And then he said, I give it to my wife. He said, but make sure that she might need to dress something under it, because inni akhafu an tasifa hajma idamiha. I am actually afraid that it will kind of dispose or expose the shape of her, what's idam? Bones. Is that what you usually use to, what does he mean? The shape of what? Of the body, the flesh. He doesn't want to refer to maybe the breast, maybe the buttocks, this and that. He doesn't want to say that directly. He said hajm al-idam. Actually, he said, I'm afraid it was so kind of soft kind of cloth that if a woman would dress it, it would probably show the shape of the body. But the wording that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is choosing is referring to something that we need to really look at and adopt. Hajm al-idamiha, the shape of the bones, rather than the shape of the flesh or this or that. Looking into the Sahaba and how they dealt with one another, learning this from the Quran, learning different from the Prophet ﷺ. The minute the Nabi ﷺ passed away and they were in the process of choosing and electing somebody to lead the Ummah. And it's clear from everything that we see, Abu Bakr is the one who is there. But actually he was the one to take the initiative. When you saw some of the Sahaba, they are qualified, but they are actually not the most qualified to do that. And they were talking about it and were thinking about appointing some people or electing some people who were much less than people who would be qualified. And he said, I suggest or I nominate Umar. Ubsut yadaka ya Umar. Give me your hand, ya Umar. I give you the pledge of allegiance and you be the leader after everybody else is out. He said, Ayyu ardin tuqilluni wa ayyu samain tudilluni. What kind of earth that I can live on, what kind of sky that I can live under, it's impossible that Abu Bakr will be there and I will be the leader of those people. It's not possible. What are you talking about? It's not possible that I lead a group of people that include Abu Bakr. That is, Umar is qualified, but he is now saying, and it's not only in his life, after he passed away, Umar radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr first, the Nabi used to give the khutbah in a member like that. Abu Bakr, when he was the Khalifa, he didn't feel comfortable to stay in the same place with the Nabi physically. He, descended one step, and he was there. Umar came, he descended one step, and he said, I don't see myself in the place of Abu Bakr, it's not fit for me. That's the adab. And then the hikmah comes, the wisdom comes. When it was time for Uthman, everybody would expect him to do what? There were only 3 steps. Abu Bakr came, the second one, Umar was in the first one, but then Uthman, if he followed the same analogy, he would stand on the floor, which is not possible. It doesn't serve purpose of the member itself that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started, he rose up in the place of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And they took it against him later on. Some of the Khulafa al-Umayyun, they used to say that and raise this point. And they were saying that to one of the Sahaba, and he said, يعني, you are such not an intelligent person, because if he did that, لَكُنْتَ فِي قَعْرِ بِئْرٍ. If that is the analogy, he will be in the floor, and then the next Khalifa, Muawiyah or Hassan or something, he will dig something to go under one more. If that's not possible, it's not logical. It's not adab anymore to do that, it's actually something else. Hikmah is that you stay there. He said if that analogy would be adopted, then you, the Khalifa was raising this point, you will be in a bottom of a well, a water well. هذا موقف آخر. We see Abdullah ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam passed away when he was 12, and he was after knowledge. He wanted to get the knowledge of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He got as much as he can from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam during his lifetime, but he couldn't catch him for that long. He just, for 2.5 years, he was there with the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he was keen to get the knowledge from those who got it directly from the Prophet. One of them is Zayd ibn Thabit. He would go to the house of Zayd ibn Thabit, stay at the door of the house of Zayd ibn Thabit, not even knock on the door. And you can imagine in Arabia when, you know, it was summertime, especially if it's windy or something, and the hadith mentioned the details of how the wind would get the dust on the face and clothes of Abdullah ibn Abbas, and he's there standing. His goal is to seek knowledge, and he has the adab. Hours and hours pass by, Zayd ibn Thabit will come out of his house and he said, why are you sitting here? He said, I came to learn the knowledge of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from you. He said, why didn't you, if you just let me know, I would have come to you. He said, no, al-ilmu yubta. Knowledge, you know, you have the knowledge and you qualify, I have to come to you. And then he said, why didn't you knock the door and just come? He said, I was afraid that you might be busy with your family or something. See, the adab is this is Abdullah ibn Abbas, very close to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from Ahl al-Bayt. If he would just ask maybe Zayd ibn Thabit to visit him twice a week or something, Zayd would be happy to do it. But out of his adab, he doesn't want to do that. He would go all the way to his house and, you know, do that. Look at the adab of one of the Sahabiyat, a woman. She was coming to, during the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, complaining to him. She was coming to tell him something. And she said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I don't want to really complain about my husband, but this is the case. He is Nazawji Sawwam Qawwam. My husband always fasting, constantly fasting every day. Qawwam. And he's prays at night, stand in prayer at night, almost every night. And he said, I hope I'll be that person. You are such a good wife that you are praising your husband. So what? Then she said the same thing, and he said the same thing again. He replied in the same. And then Ka'b, the surah next to him, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, commander of the believers, she's actually complaining. She is complaining about her husband. Because if he is fasting every day, that means while fasting, he cannot approach your wife. And if he is praying all night long, he is also, the night is gone. He doesn't give her right. And then the process started. It's its own hadith, and beautiful hadith as well. Umar said, if you were that smart to get the point, then you'll be the qadi, you'll be the judge, and make the judgment between them. And then the judgment is actually, the process of judgment is very interesting. But the point here is the adab of this woman. She doesn't want to just come and be vulgar. You can imagine, her husband does not give her her right, and she is in a position to complain. And she say he does this, he does that. But she was complaining him in a form of praising him. That was the adab. Even in case of disagreement or complaining, we need to retain that, adab amongst us and respect one another. The elderly out there, we need to respect them. Those who ashab al-fadl amongst us, we need to, that is the adab that Muslims should always adopt between them. Because where is that coming from? It's coming from the very faith, the very iman of ours. لا شيء, nothing is أثقل في الميزان, is heavier in the scale of deeds than حسن الخلق, rather than or more than the حسن الخلق, the good manners, characteristics, how you deal with that with everybody around you. Actually, it's much better. It's much more important than even the rituals. Somehow even than the salah and the siyam, because the hadith ذكر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من امرأة تكثر الصيام الصلاة كانت this woman she was fasting a lot and she was praying a lot ولكن كانت تؤذي جيرانها بلسانها. But this woman, along with being fast a lot, prays a lot, and gives in صدقة. ذكر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من صيامها وصلاتها وصدقتها. But it was mentioned that she used to hurt her neighbors by her tongue. She was using this kind of foul language that is kind of rampant nowadays, the F word, S word, it's just becomes like very easy. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هي في النار. He said she is in the hellfire, even while fasting and praying and this, because she wasted all of that. We need to get back to the akhlaq, inshallah, the character, and pass that along to our kids and the next generation, inshallah. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم وصلى الله عليه وسلم.